I've always been a shy person. We're talking about someone who would rather hide in the corner at a party than be the center of attention. Social situations felt like a minefield, and I often found myself stumbling over my words or just nodding along, hoping no one would notice how uncomfortable I was. But then I became a mom, and everything changed. It was like stepping into a whole new world, one where my shyness was put to the ultimate test. Let me tell you, breastfeeding was a game changer for me. I remember the first time I tried to nurse in public. My heart was racing, palms sweaty, and I felt like everyone was staring at me, judging me. I thought, what if I can't get the latch right? What if the baby cries? What if someone says something? But I also knew that I had to feed my baby, so I took a deep breath and just went for it. At first, it was awkward. I fumbled with the nursing cover, my baby was squirming, and I could feel my cheeks burning. But then, something amazing happened. As I settled into the rhythm of nursing, I started to notice the world around me. Other moms were nursing too, and it felt like this unspoken bond. I wasn't alone in my shyness. We were all in this together. I began to realize that breastfeeding was not just about feeding my child. It was about community, connection, and finding my voice. When I nursed in public, I felt this surge of confidence. I was doing something beautiful, something natural, and I was proud of that. I began to engage with other mothers, sharing tips and stories. I'd smile at them, and they'd smile back. And suddenly, I was part of a tribe. It was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I wasn't just a shy person anymore. I was a mother, and that came with its own kind of power. I remember one day at a local park. I found a quiet bench, and as I started to nurse, I noticed a young mom sitting nearby, looking flustered and overwhelmed. I could see the same shyness in her eyes that I had once felt. So, I took a chance. I smiled and said, "Hey, it gets easier, I promise." She looked surprised, but then she smiled back. We started chatting. And before I knew it, we were sharing our breastfeeding journeys, our struggles, and our triumphs. That moment was pivotal for me. I realized that breastfeeding was not just about nourishing my baby. It was about creating connections with other women. It was about breaking down barriers and building a supportive network. I started to see that my shyness didn't have to hold me back. Instead, it could be a bridge to deeper conversations and meaningful relationships. I started to embrace my role as a breastfeeding advocate. I attended local meetups, joined online forums, and shared my experiences on social media. I found my voice. My confidence grew with every story I shared. I learned that it was okay to be vulnerable, to admit that I was struggling, and to ask for help. So here's the thing. If you're shy, know that you're not alone. Motherhood can be intimidating, but it can also be incredibly empowering. Breastfeeding taught me that it's okay to step out of my comfort zone. It's okay to connect with others, to share my journey, and to support one another. Every time I nurse in public now, I don't just see it as a necessity. I see it as an opportunity. An opportunity to connect, to engage, and to break down the walls of shyness. So, embrace it. Embrace the journey, the connections, and the beautiful moments that come with motherhood. You might just surprise yourself with how strong you truly are.